I'm very curious. How do you so patiently for such a long time put up with so many things? It takes a lot of time for a person to adjust. Some of your students, for instance, it's all nature. What does he have to do with it? There is no fault in him. Do I accuse anybody? I can't accuse anybody. I basically, according to these things, I choose what way I should act. The reason is that if he is what we call the blinker, then I have no business with him. If he's smart opponent, I can hear out his methodology, his philosophy, like in the example with Mr. Kurganian. I can, well, basically I choose who I should be with and who I should not. According to his level, whether negative or positive doesn't matter to me. But I never have any kind of contempt toward them because that's what is being implanted in them today from above. I don't relate those things to him directly. It simply isn't him. It simply is a nature that was divided into a vast number of parts, and every person is a carrier of a piece of that large single desire, and we all must unite together in this desire in the future. I look at him as he's a composition. He has no freedom of choice. Where would it come from? He doesn't have two opposite forces that he would use like two reins to control himself, by which at the same time he would be an example to others of how to move toward the goal. No. And if not, what can I demand from him? You can hate the manifestation of his nature, like Hitler's or Stalin's and others, but all that happens because that quality manifests itself in them. So you can't accuse them personally of anything. They simply play their roles. It's like an actor that acts. The only difference is that actor gets paid. He studies to do that. This person acts because these things are implanted in him, this program, and that's how he executes it. So from the external, healthy and mature point of view, you can't have any accusations to anyone besides those to whom the world's well-being depends on. And the rest of people play their roles. They don't have any freedom of choice. And generally, it is those who we perceive to be significant figures that play certain roles in our world. It is written, Lefzaim ve'melachim beyad Hashem, meaning the hearts of kings and ministers are in hands of Creator. They have absolutely nothing of their own. Absolutely. So there is no point for me to consider how Obama or Putin are going to act, or Berlusconi, Merkel, etc. Or those animals that gather here around Israel that are trying to snap their piece of something. I can't relate to them in any way. It all depends on who has the freedom of choice. Let's determine who has the freedom of choice in our world. Only those have it that have power of correction, opposite to the force of egoistic force. If a person possesses these two forces, force of reception and bestowal, through them he can control himself, and through himself the world, to a degree, he pulls himself up. And such people, indeed, how many of them do we have in our world? You can count them by fingers probably. But they are the ones that determine the state of the world in general. And the rest are masses. And it doesn't matter what kind of masses, there can be scientists, politicians, and whoever, you name them. But until this process of realization, adaptation, understanding, and it's all on animal level, and it all requires time. Thus, when I look at all of them, I feel myself guilty, because it happens in our world. And those nations of the world, well, today they turn to Israel like if modern Jews understand something. But in actuality, they sense that those people over there, the ones with big noses, they hold our problems. They, for some reason, are related to our troubles. Our well-being depends on them. They twist the world. They've established some sort of underground trust, and with help of evil forces, they drive everything, all that. And they pull the world into this whirlpool, etc. Meaning they basically admit that the world is in the hands of few Jews. Maybe. Well, maybe in this case not necessarily Jews, but those who own a special methodology. And it's commonly accepted. No matter where you go, it's accepted. The anti-Semitism itself refers to this. For sure, there's a reason for which you hate them. There can be any reasons for hating something. If he is red, yellow, blue, anything, tall, short, handsome, not so much, with big ears, long nose, narrow eyes, etc. That's not what you hate the person for. He has in him something that you feel like well, first of all, some kind of mystery, dependence on him, some kind of special force that he can possibly use to control the world and to control you. There's something that connects him to something deeply mysterious. And this sensation resides in every person in the world, because it has spiritual roots, and there's no way to eliminate it. No way. Deep inside in everybody, you can dig it out. And it's not up to a person. Absolutely not. It's because it's designed that way. But now we come to a resolution. Now we need to reveal this global system of interdependence and see how we can use each person's force so we can gather everything into one integral global system. We've reached the finish line. But when you communicate with these people, what do you get out of it? If they simply carry some kind of task and you talk to them, I get nothing out of it. I simply want to know their opinion, which level they're on, how far the humanity has progressed. There was a meeting organized which I attended, and there was a Russian minister of culture and personal spiritual advisor of Putin. I spoke with him. It was interesting for me what they have to say. So, in other meetings, I've spoke, for example, with director of Institute of Philosophy, with other scientists of different fields, Professor Kapitsa, for example. I was curious about these things, about their opinions. The level of their maturity from my point of view. I apologize, I don't want to prevail them in any way. I get out of this some opinions. Well, it's relative opinions. On one side, I know what kind of forces are being brought down to our world and circumstances, and on the other side, through my communication with them, and looking at them in a corporeal way, I discover how much of these forces they sense, and how much they can reveal and work with them. So that's why I'm telling you that in the last half year I'm seeing drastic changes taking place in our world, and for that reason I have such optimistic view for the future of our world. I think that the humanity will likely transition to the new state, possibly not through the world war, but through revelation and acknowledgement of urge to move to a new level, to a new state. The crisis reveals itself in a way too broad way. And it's not only through the finances, but through absolutely everything in our world.